This episode is brought to you by Real Girl Talk partners and sponsors.
Welcome to the Sherry Ricard Show, a podcast where faith and business intersect to inspire and empower women. Every week, I'm sharing powerful messages of faith, offering practical business advice, and discussing strategies for achieving success. I'm having insightful conversations with industry leaders and faith-driven women. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go. I'm Sherry, and this is the Sherry Ricard Show. Welcome. We are jumping into episode Finding Contentment and Compassion, but Avoiding Comparison and Judgment. We've been talking about asking big, believing bigger, the supernatural favor of God, and all of these things. But what happens when someone else is seeing all their dreams come to pass and you're not? Okay, so don't compare your life to others and don't judge them. And that's what we're talking about today. You know, the grass is greener on the other side when you forget to water your own lawn. Hey, everybody. Today we're diving into why comparing ourselves to others and judging them can send you on a downward spiral and a state of depression. If you're thinking, well, I don't compare myself to others, this episode won't be for me. Hold on, hold the phone, hear me out. We're going to talk about why it's better to embrace our own journey and show grace to others. There's the dangers of comparison. Let's talk about that. We never want to fall in this comparison trap because it is a downward spiral. It's like running a race with no finish line. Comparison is like a thief that steals your joy and piles up your stress. God made each of us with our own gifts and challenges as well. So comparing ourselves to others just messes with that unique path that He's already laid out for you. It's a distraction from the enemy to limit your thinking in two major areas. First, being self-worth. Our worth isn't about how we stack up against others, but how God sees us. We need to remember that we're valued by Him, not by what society says. What other people think of you and their perception of you is none of your business. And number two, personal growth. When we focus on our own growth, we find true satisfaction because we're talking about our race. We're staying in our lane. It's about appreciating our progress and setting our own milestone. So what you're going to do is set a milestone for yourself and a goal for yourself. And you're only competing with your own self, not your next door neighbor, not your coworker, your sister, your best friend's cousin. None of those people and their opinions matter. What God has in them, He doesn't have in you. He's already placed desires and dreams in your heart, and the favor of God comes upon you for those, not them. And when you're actually thinking about things that you want to do, don't always share that with everybody else because a lot of people can kind of pour, their own little input in that. It will distract you and take you off track. But remember, God didn't put the dream in their heart. He put it in yours. We're all born on purpose and for a purpose, and our strengths may not be someone else's strengths. And the same with challenges in life and setbacks. Embrace your unique path and achievement. Celebrate others, though, and their success. And set goals that meet your own expectations, not the expectations of somebody else. The Bible verse that says in Galatians 6:4-7, each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else, for each one should carry their own load. That's good advice from the Bible, right? So practical tips that are going to kind of help you keep on track with this. Number one, gratitude journaling. We've said this over and over, and I know some people go, I don't have time to journal. Listen, friend, you don't have time not to journal because I'm telling you what it does for you. Write down things that you're thankful for. It helps shift that focus from what others have to what you've been blessed with already. Number two, this is a big one. Hold on. Limit social media. Why, you ask? Social media shows you a highlight reel of others' lives, but spending less time on these platforms can really help reduce comparison. Remember, there is a social media illusion, and social media often shows the highlight reels of people's lives, right? They don't show you the behind the scenes. But for every perfect vacation photo that you see on social media, there's also a deleted album of sunburns, lost luggage, and where's the Wi-Fi moments, okay? Amongst other things. Number three, celebrating others. So instead of feeling anxious, I want you to celebrate others' success. It creates a supportive community and positive relationships with your friends, your family, and your coworkers. If someone gets a promotion, this may be hard to swallow. If someone gets a promotion that you feel that you deserved, celebrate them. Swallow your pride, take a deep breath, let out, and celebrate them. Congratulate them with a genuine smile on your face. Hey, you may even want to bring them some cupcakes the next day. Really show genuine celebration for that person. Focus on your own journey. Avoiding judgment, because judging others, I'm going to tell you, is just more about you than it is them. Celebrate our differences. Our differences make the world interesting and vibrant. Can you imagine if everyone was just like you? I mean, the world would be filled they'd just be filled with more people like you. And as much as we all love ourselves, a variety is the spice of life. Okay, so point number 2, the harm of judging others. Hear me out. Judging others messes up relationships, and it will also attack your own peace of mind. A Bible verse, Matthew 7, verse 1 through 2 says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Let's have empathy and understanding. Judging often comes from not understanding someone else's situation. Everyone is fighting their own battles that you don't even know about. And empathy can help us connect better with one another. Also self-reflection, because judging others usually reflects our own insecurities. Did you hear me? Do I need to say that again? Judging someone else is a reflection of your own insecurities. You're probably thinking of someone that needs to hear this episode. Pass it to them. So by reflecting on ourselves, we can grow and become more compassionate people, right? Also, there's the biblical perspective. Jesus taught that judgment is God's job, not ours. We're meant to love and support each other. So practical tips, okay? Practicing empathy. Try to understand where others are coming from before making any judgments on them. Also focus on our own flaws. Focus on yourself. Focus on improving yourself, not someone else. Work on your own issues first. It makes you more understanding and less judgmental when you do this. And there's positive communication. Speak in ways that build up and encourage others. Words have power, friends, so use them wisely. Always speak life into someone else, especially your children, not death. Point number 3, embracing contentment and compassion. Contentment and compassion can really change our lives and how we relate to others. Philippians 4:11, verse 13. "I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all through him who strengthens me." That is one of my favorite Bible verses. If you need to hear it again, rewind. So let's address this. I have 3 powerful thought-provoking analogies here. Number 1, contentment is God's provision. True contentment comes from trusting God's plan, not what we see around us. It's not the circumstances around us. It's believing in God's plan. That's called faith. And number 3, transformative power. Contentment shifts our perspective. It'll bring peace and joy into any situation around you. It frees us from constantly wanting more and more. And last, the role of compassion. Being kind and understanding builds a strong, supportive community. Showing God's love through our actions can make a huge difference. You can use 3 practical applications just to shift your distraction and contentment. That's prayer, because regular prayer aligns our desires with God's will and finds contentment in his plan. Also, serving others, helping others shifts our focus from ourselves, to those that are in need, fostering compassion and gratitude for them. And also focusing on God's promises, meditating on God's promises, his word. This reminds us of his faithfulness and helps us find contentment. So we talked about compassion, stealing our joy, judging others, harms relationships, how contentment and compassion can transform our lives. But remember, God has a unique plan for each one of us. So let's embrace our own journey and show grace to others. I'm going to share a story about how to avoid comparison and judgment, and it led to more contentment and compassion in my life. When my son passed away, Bryant, when he was 17 years old back in 2007, I felt immediately into a depression and grief, obviously, but also I fell into the comparison trap. I saw moms with their sons that was my son Bryant's age, and I thought, how is this fair? How does she get to have her son and I don't? This isn't fair, God. And I started falling into that comparison trap. Why is her life better? Why does she have it better? Why does God love her more than he loves me? I started really comparing families and lives of others to my own, and my suffering just sunk deeper. All I did was torment myself, the torment of sadness by this constant comparison. I couldn't see the good anywhere. And I was really happy about nothing. I even told my husband I will never be happy again. And it was because of the comparison trap that I had fallen into. Months of why me, God, and why that mom, God, is comparison that I knew without God's grace and guidance, I would never come back to a place of peace. So this is when I began journaling. I journaled my thoughts, my pains, my daily sadness, which led me to writing more about Bryant and eventually my first book, A Mother's Grief Journey. And I'd like to give you a challenge this week. Here's some of the things that I'd like for you to try. Number 1, gratitude exercise. Spend a few minutes each day writing down what you're thankful for. It may even just be 3 things, maybe 2. I don't care. Spend time writing in a gratitude journal. If you don't have one, you can go back to the description in the episode. I have a gratitude journal on Amazon, or you can just go to Dollar General and grab a notebook. It doesn't matter. Just use some type of gratitude journal, the same book every day, and write down a few things that you're grateful for. Also, I want you to practice acts of kindness. Look for ways. Don't just wait for the opportunity. I want you to look for ways to serve others and show compassion. It may just mean for the first time you actually roll down your window and give that person on the side of the road that says, we'll work for food, I'm hungry. Listen, if you feel in your heart and you feel led to do it, don't let other people tell you that that's a bad idea, because you have no idea where that person's coming from. He could have a car right down the street that he's about to jump into and go eat at McDonald's. Who cares? He could have a home that's bigger than yours and he's on the street. God bless him. That is not for you to judge. Right? We're judging that person when we're thinking of all these things. Stop thinking so hard. If you feel in your heart to give him $1, $5, I don't care if it's the last 20 in your wallet, do it. Just do it. Look for ways to spend time serving others. Whatever it is. Maybe it's volunteer work. Maybe it's not money. Maybe it's cutting your next door neighbor's yard because she's a widow, or it's her husband's in the hospital. Whatever it is, look for ways. 3rd, positive self-talk. I want you to replace negative thoughts of comparison with affirmations of God's love and purpose for you. Also, closing prayer. Let's pray for strength to avoid comparison and judgment, and for our hearts to be filled with contentment and compassion. That is so important. I want you to open your heart right now, and I want you to receive every single thing that I just spoke about today. Just open your heart, hear me out, receive it into your soul, into your spirit, and go for it. I want you to embrace your own life, appreciate other people without judgment. Don't fight unnecessary battles that cause you a distraction or take you off the course of your life. We all have places that we'd like to see, places we'd like to go. We all want new opportunities to come our way. But when someone else is accomplishing those things and you feel like you're left behind, remember to water your own lawn, run your own race, or should I say the marathon of life, because that's what it feels like sometimes. And everything that's supposed to be yours, friend, will come in the right time. It's all in God's timing. It will come in the right way, and it'll be just meant for you. No one else, just for you. I would love for you to share your thoughts and your experiences on this topic in the podcast ratings and reviews section of this podcast, and on social media at The Sherry Ricard Show. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Click the little button on the top. There's a little plus mark if you're on Apple. If you're on your Apple phone, click the follow and share this with some friends, because I know people came to mind when I was having this episode and we were talking about judgment, compassion, contentment. Stay tuned for the next episode every Monday. You don't want to miss it. God bless.